We're closely coordinated with the territorial and local governments, which are totally and unfortunately unable to handle this catastrophic crisis on their own, just totally unable to. The police and truck drivers are very substantially gone. They're taking care of their families and largely unable to get involved, largely unable to help. Therefore, we're forced to bring in truck drivers, security, and many, many other personnel by the thousands, and we're bringing them onto the island as we speak. We've never seen a situation like this. The electrical grid and other infrastructure were already in very, very poor shape. They were at their life's end prior to the hurricanes, and now virtually everything has been wiped out, and we will have to really start all over again. We're literally starting from scratch. Ultimately, the government of Puerto Rico will have to work with us to determine how this massive rebuilding effort will end up being one of the biggest ever, will be funded and organized, and what we will do with the tremendous amount of existing debt already on the island. We will not rest, however, until the people of Puerto Rico are safe. These are great people. We want them to be safe and sound and secure, and we will be there every day until that happens. Likewise, we're working closely with the Virgin Islands on the disaster recovery, and that effort is going very, very well. Both governors, I have to tell you, of Puerto Rico and of the Virgin Islands have been extremely good. They are working so hard, but there's nothing left. It's been wiped out. The houses are largely flattened. The roads are washed away. There is no electricity. The plants are gone. They're gone. It's not like, let's send a crew in to fix them. You have to build brand new electric. Sewage systems wiped out. It's never been anything like this. So there remains a lot of work to do, and we will work with the folks that we're working with right now. They're trying very, very hard, I will tell you that, but nobody's ever seen anything like it. We're here today at the National Association of Manufacturers to discuss our vision for America's economic revival and to celebrate the people whose vision and products stock our shelves, fill our homes, and enrich our lives. I want to express my special gratitude to the incredible workers on stage. Congratulations. They are the ones, and millions out there. Now, they're not as good as you, but they're very good. But the millions out there whose dedication and drive makes this country run. It's a great honor to be here with the men and women whose creations power our communities and protect our nation. We are all here today for the same reason, because we believe in that beautiful, beautiful phrase that hasn't been used so much over the last 3 decades, made in the USA. It's a phrase that fills our hearts with pride, and they embody the skill, grit, and drive of the American worker. The single best tribute to our workers can be found in the unmatched quality and craftsmanship of the amazing products they bring, from the blueprint to the storefront. Made in the USA is a global symbol of unrivaled excellence. My administration is working every day to lift the burdens on our companies and on our workers so that you can thrive, compete, and grow. And at the very center of that plan is a giant, beautiful, massive, the biggest ever in our country, tax cut. For decades, the policy of Washington, D.C. on the subject of manufacturing was a policy best summarized in one word: surrender. They surrendered. Under my administration, the era of economic surrender is over, and the rebirth of American industry is beginning. America is winning again, and America is being respected again, and you see that happening all over. You see the 5 plants that were announced just recently, auto plants. So many people are coming back into this country. They want to be back in. Other countries are bringing their companies and sending their companies in. They all want to be back, and that's great for our worker. On every front, in every way, on every policy, we are guided by the same economic goal: to keep jobs in America, to bring jobs to America, to create real prosperity for America, the country that we love. That is why we have lifted the restrictions on American energy, ending the war on coal, approving the Keystone XL and the Dakota Access pipelines. And I'll tell you something, I did that immediately. First couple of days, 48,000 jobs, and everybody's happy. And reversing the EPA intrusion into your business and into your lives. Instead, we are returning the EPA to its core mission: clean air and crystal clean water. That's what we want. We want clean air. We want clean water. We're fighting to create fair and reciprocal trade for American companies. And the word reciprocal is so important. Lifting barriers to our exports, cracking down on countries that cheat, of which there are many, and ensuring a level playing field for our great American workers and our great American companies. Because when our workers have a level playing field, no one, absolutely no one, can beat us. Right? We've also taken historic action to protect our manufacturing and defense industrial base. My administration has ordered a first-ever complete review of the manufacturing technology and supply chains we need to protect our country. We cannot have national security without economic security. To further unleash American enterprise, we have taken unprecedented steps to remove job-killing regulations that sap the energy, creativity, and dynamism from our country. We are cutting regulations at a pace that has never even been thought of before. Not even thought of. This is a groundbreaking campaign and involves every department and agency across our government. We are requiring every federal manager to systematically review and then remove the regulations that destroy your jobs, hamstring your companies, and undermine your ability to compete. And we need some regulations, but we don't need 35 regulations to take care of one item. We don't need to go through 9 different agencies to get something taken off. We want beautiful, fast, efficient regulation that works. Thank you. Already, we are seeing the results of an economic policy that puts America first. Unemployment is at a 16-year low. Wages are rising. The stock market is soaring to record levels. The S&P hit a record high just this morning as I was coming over. GDP growth hit over 3% last quarter, was just adjusted yesterday, and is now at 3.1%, a number that hasn't been seen in a very, very long time, and a number that's way ahead of schedule. And I believe we're doing better this month, but unfortunately, having the hurricanes hitting Texas and Florida and Louisiana and obviously other locations, and especially where we are right now with the kind of money we're spending on Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands, it's going to be a little bit of a hit, but we're doing extremely well even this quarter, despite the hurricanes. Manufacturing confidence is at an all-time high. America is finally back on the right track. But our country and our economy cannot take off like they should unless we transform America's outdated, complex, and extremely burdensome tax code. It is a burden on our country. We have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to pass tax reform that is pro-growth, pro-jobs, pro-worker, pro-family, and pro-American. Our current tax code punishes companies for doing business in the United States and encourages them to leave. And that's what's happened for so many years. And that's one of the reasons, probably the prime reason, that companies are leaving our country and firing all those people. They're not bringing the jobs with them. They're giving other countries those jobs, firing all of those great people. That's stopping. It's already started to stop about 9 months ago, but that's stopping, and it's stopping right now. We need a tax system that encourages companies to stay in America, grow in America, and hire in America. For several months, my administration has been working closely with Congress to develop a framework for tax reform that will deliver exactly that: more jobs, higher pay, and lower taxes for middle-income families and for American businesses of all sizes. And these are businesses that create jobs. We unveiled an incredible framework on Wednesday in Indiana, a great state, and I'd like to share with you 4 core principles of our plan. First, we will cut taxes for everyday, hardworking Americans, and we're going to cut them substantially. Under this framework, the first $12,000 for a single individual and the first $24,000 for a married couple will be absolutely tax-free, no tax. We are nearly doubling the amount of income that is taxed at a rate of 0. Above that amount, income will be taxed at 3 rates: 12%, 25%, and 35%. We will also substantially increase the child tax credit to save working families even more money, because we know the most important investment our country can make is in our children. Our framework also provides relief to those who care for an older loved one through a $500 tax credit, something that everybody has been wanting so badly for so long. By eliminating the tax breaks and special interest loopholes that primarily benefit the wealthy, our framework ensures that the benefits of tax reform go to the middle class, not the highest earners. That's why we also have given Congress the flexibility to add an additional top rate on the very highest income earners to provide even more tax relief for everyday working people. Second, our framework will make the tax code more simple, fair, and easy to understand. American families and businesses waste billions and billions of dollars and tens of billions of dollars on excruciating paperwork and compliance every single year, and it never ends. Under our framework, the vast majority of families will be able to file their taxes on a single sheet of paper. We're also repealing the unfair and complicated alternative minimum tax, or AMT. The AMT requires many people to calculate their taxes two different ways and pay the higher of the two amounts. We're closing loopholes, reducing burdens, and replacing confusion with total clarity. As part of this simplification, we're also going to protect millions of family businesses by ending the crushing, horrible, and unfair estate tax, also known as the death tax. That means for those of you with small and family-owned businesses, your family won't have to sell the business in a fire sale just to pay a very, very high and unfair tax. Your families can continue to run your businesses with love and dedication and remembrance of you. We will protect our manufacturers and our workers, and we will make taxes simple, easy, and fair for all Americans, and it's about time. We will cut taxes on American businesses to restore our competitive edge and create more jobs and higher wages for the American worker. The last major tax reform was passed more than 30 years ago in 1986 with a large bipartisan majority. That sounds so nice. Wouldn't that be nice? Come on, look at, we have so many right here. Let's go. Raise your hands, fellas, if you're. The 1986 tax bill was substantially reduced our business tax rate to make America globally competitive went through the roof. The plan worked. The jobs and industry boomed. Other countries saw our success and copied our playbook. Our foreign competitors adopted tax rates much lower and much more competitive than our own. In fact, when it comes to business tax, we are now dead last among developed nations. We pay the highest tax of any nation in the world. Our rate is the least competitive rate there is. Our business tax rate is 60% higher than our average economic competitor. Think of that. And then you say, how do you compete? Well, in many cases you don't. Our companies leave. They go to other countries. It's a massive tax on every product made in America, giving countries like Germany, Canada, Japan, South Korea, China, and Mexico, not to mention so many others, a massive head start over American industry. It is time to go from dead last to pretty much the front of the pack. Pretty much. We won't be the lowest, but we'll be getting pretty close. Under our framework, we will dramatically cut the business tax rate so that American companies and workers can beat our foreign competitors. We will cut the business tax rate from 35% all the way down to 20%, below our average competition by far. And this is a revolutionary change, and the biggest winners will be everyday working families as jobs start pouring into our country. When companies leave our shores, it's American workers who get hurt. They get fired. When companies stay in America and move to America, it's our wonderful workers who reap the benefits and the rewards. And for the majority of American manufacturers that file taxes as sole proprietors or S corporations or partnerships, we will cap your tax rate at a maximum rate, unlike present, of 25%. That's your maximum rate. This will be the lowest top marginal income tax rate for small and medium-sized businesses in more than 80 years. The lowest in 80 years. And it will be rocket fuel for our economy. To further help our companies to compete, for the next 5 years, our framework will allow you to fully write off the cost of new equipment in the year you buy it. Think of that one. To me, that's so big. So you don't take it over many years. You take it immediately upon when you buy it. That will be something that people have never seen before, and it will be great. It will be truly great. That means more production, more investment, and far more jobs. If we want to make more products and say made in America, because that's what we want, made in the USA or made in America, then we have to reduce taxes on the businesses that produce in America. And with your help, that is exactly what we are going to do. Fourth, and finally, our framework, and you have to remember, you see what's happening with companies and offshore, encourages American companies to bring back trillions of dollars in wealth parked overseas. Our current tax code actually punishes companies for keeping their headquarters in America and discourages them from bringing back the profits they earn overseas. We are going to reverse that. Right now, we have at least $3 trillion overseas. And I must tell you, I've been following this for 6 years, and Republicans and Democrats have always said, we want that money to come back. So they all agree, and they still never got it done. We're going to bring everybody together, and we're going to get that done. We will eliminate the penalty on bringing back the future earnings and bringing them back to the United States in full. And we will impose a one-time low tax on money currently parked overseas so it can be brought back home to America where it belongs. For too long, our tax code has incentivized companies to leave our country in search of lower tax rates. My administration rejects the offshoring model, and we have embraced a new model. It's called the American model. We want companies to hire and grow in America, to raise wages for American workers, and to help rebuild American cities and towns. When we grow American manufacturing, we don't only grow our jobs and wages, but we also grow America's spirit. When we purchase products made in America, fashioned by our fellow citizens, we renew the bonds of national loyalty that link us all together as one. There is a great patriotism that lives inside the men and women who leave their hearts on the factory floors, who pour their hopes into the works of iron and steel, and who turn dreams into reality with their own 2 hands. When they huddle in the break room, at the rest stop, or at the end of a long and very tiring shift, they take pride in knowing that the products they work and the products they make aren't just building business, they're building families and communities, and most of all, they are building this nation that we all love so much. We want every American to know the dignity of work, the pride, the beautiful pride, getting a paycheck, the satisfaction of being told that was a job well done. We want every parent to be able to care for their children, and we want every child to know a home filled with love and a community filled with hope. That is the America we see when we look at our American flag that hangs in all of our factories, sails our oceans, and waves over our cities, towns, and fields. We love our American flag. The soul of a country is found in the people who make it a home, and we owe it to our citizens to provide them with a future of opportunity where they can earn a living with dignity and purpose and pride. We can build this future together as one team, one people, and one great American family. This can be remembered as the moment we took control of our destiny and chose a future of American patriotism, prosperity, and pride. With your help and your voice, we will bring back our jobs, we will bring back our wealth, and for every citizen across this land, we will bring back our great American dream. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless America. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Broadcasting. Thank you. Some people donated during the speech. We really appreciate that. I know Jerry just made a donation. If you, we are today, as we always do, we bring you the full President Trump speech, and also we don't editorialize on it. So I had, I sometimes have the speech on here on my TV on one of the news networks because I want to sort of keep an eye on it there and while looking at some things on my internet. And today I know I happen to have it on CNN, and what CNN was doing is toward the end of the speech, President Trump was speaking, and as you saw, the speech was all basically about taxes, and the lower third that CNN had up was something like, President, Puerto Rico needs to help us figure out how to pay for this. The Puerto Rico stuff was, 1/50th of the speech at the beginning or something, or 1/40th or whatever, and that's what they choose to highlight. But my general point is, they could have said something good about Trump, whatever. My point is, we don't watch the speech and tell you what to think about it. We just show you the speech and we let you figure out what to think about it. We don't want to have an agenda here. So we are viewer supported though, so we really appreciate the donations because those are what keep us on the air and allow us to do this. So if you enjoy our coverage of President Trump's events and also breaking news, we were on last night covering the stampede in Mumbai late at night. If you enjoy our coverage, please consider making a donation because your donations keep us on the air. If you want to donate, you can go to the YouTube chat room and click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. And as I said that, S Blaster just made a donation and said, "Hi, Steve." Thank you so much, S Blaster. S Blaster donated too in earlier on in the show. Barbara Braley, I know, donated. Who else? I'm forgetting some people. Jerry donated, and 9 Fathoms donated. I think I might have remembered them all. I'm not sure. If I forgot, I'm sorry. Thank you to the moderators, all the moderators being there for the in the chat room today, moderating the chat. We have Jude and JC and Jan and Ron. I think Real Frank was there before. Yeah, Real Frank, Ron Miller, and all the other ones there, and Jan, and on the website too. So I want to hear what you thought about this speech. President Trump talked a lot about his tax plan today, and it's interesting, he gave a speech a couple days ago where he outlined his tax plan, and he gave another one today. That's 2 and 3 days. So President Trump is really getting out there and supporting this tax reform plan and talking to America about it. Clearly, it's very important to him. And this wasn't a day where he was presenting something new. It was more about hitting those themes and reiterating what that plan is all about. So what did you think about the speech? What do you think about the tax plan? I would love to hear from you, no matter what your view is. Write to me on Twitter, @Lookner, @LOOKNER. Let me know what you thought about President Trump's speech today and about this tax plan. And I'm going to talk about some things that President Trump talked about during the plan that I've written down here. Oh, and look, he did it at the beginning. He did talk about Puerto Rico, but a lot of what he said is talking about how bad the situation was there and how America is trying to help get stuff there. And he did say this is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water, talking about some of the challenges facing getting equipment and help there. Oh, and we just got some donations. I just want to say thanks. S Blaster just made another donation. Wow, thank you. Said, Steve, I want to work to RSBN. Where do I send my resume? Well, we're very small, but so at this point, to be honest, we can't really expand in the near future. But if you want to send us a resume, you could always send it to feedback@rsbn.tv. Chris Wells just made a donation. Thank you, Chris, very much. And also Robert Burr made a donation. Thank you guys so much. We're just going to use that to stay on the air and cover more news for you. So we really appreciate those donations. It's really nice of you guys. Thanks a lot. Okay, so but a lot of what President talked about today was his tax plan. He talked about how, those big themes he talked about. He wants a tax plan that's simpler for Americans. He wants a tax plan that encourages companies to stay in America. What was that one thing he said about Made in America? If we want to make more products that say Made in America, then we have to reduce taxes on the businesses that produce in America. So he wants a tax code that encourages companies to stay in America rather than keep their money overseas. Also, he wants a tax rate. He made this one comment where he said, we want to go from being like last place to like the middle of the road in terms of, he's talking about how we have such high, he said he believes we have such high tax rates compared to other countries, and we do have high corporate tax rates here, and he wants to make it a more level playing field and have our tax rate be more commensurate with those in other industrialized countries. And also talking about just, he mentioned some specific things in terms of saying, we will cut taxes for everyday hardworking Americans, and he pointed to his proposals doubling of the standard deduction. So if you're an individual, the first $12,000 you make, and if you're a married couple, the first $24,000 you make, there would be no taxes on that because the standard deduction would be that much. So, but it's interesting to see President Trump getting out there twice in 3 days and hitting these same themes, which is just, he's clearly making a commitment to telling America about this bill and pushing this bill, and clearly is very behind wanting to have this tax reform plan get through Congress so he can sign it, I would presume, before the end of the year. Let's see here. So we are talking here about President Trump's speech, about his tax reform plan. If you have thoughts on his speech, give me a shout @Lookner, @LOOKNER on Twitter. And you can also, what was I going to say? I was going to say you can also email me, but the best place to reach me is on Twitter because I'm checking that more during the broadcast. Some other things President Trump had said today where he talked about how he wants to cut regulations. He definitely hit that again, cutting regulations, saying that he feels there are too many regulations on business, and it takes too much time for businesses to comply with them. He definitely wants to cut that. He's talked about, he said, we want fast, beautiful, efficient regulation that works. Talked about ending the estate tax. I was thinking about this, some people do criticize President Trump for this part of his plan because they say the estate tax only applies to wealthy people. I had read that the current exemption for the estate tax is basically $5.5 million. So on the one hand, you could say, well, if the estate tax only applies to those whose estates are more than $5.5 million, isn't cutting it just benefiting the wealthy? Now, on the other hand, somebody might say in response, but if wealthy people pass away, they're going to donate that they're going to leave that money to like their descendants, and maybe their descendants aren't as wealthy. So, and maybe there are a bunch of descendants. Maybe a wealthy person who has a $6 million estate has seven descendants they want to leave it to, and then you break it all up. So, there are arguments that can be made on both sides here. That is something I'm sure will be controversial in the coming weeks and months. Camaro SS made a donation and said, "I love all my Patriot brothers and sisters." Thank you, Camaro. Let's see here. Garrett writes in, "Hi, Steve. I did hear Hillary Clinton claim she did send hospital ships to Puerto Rico. Is that a false claim or not?" I know nothing about this. I didn't hear this claim, Garrett, so I'll have to look about it after the show. But thank you for writing in. I'll do a quick Google search to see if I can find anything on it, but I hadn't heard anything about that. I see a story from 3 days ago that says Clinton pressed Trump to deploy hospital ship to Comfort to Puerto Rico. I'll read more about that after today. But thanks for writing in. And we just got another donation. Let's see here. S Blaster, I almost said it. S Blaster gave $16.69. S Blaster, I can't say your name on the air. If you change your name, I could say it on the air, but I can't say that on the air. Unless you want the station to get shut down. We are talking about President Trump's tax speech. I am Steve Lookner. This is Right Side Broadcasting. We're taking your comments on the air. What did you think about the speech? What do you think about this tax plan? Do you think this tax plan will get through Congress? Will Congress get together? There was a big push from the White House. President Trump got out there and spoke about health care too. Congress didn't pass a health care bill. The House did, the Senate didn't. Do you think Congress, both houses of Congress, the House and Senate, will be able to pass a tax reform bill? Let me know. Give me a shout on Twitter, @Lookner. Patriot of Truth says, "Great speech by the 45th President of the United States." Jack Rando, you write in with a question. I guess Jack says he was banned in the chat and didn't think he should be. If you have questions about that, the moderators are the people to ask, and I would talk to them first about it, and I will give you an email address you can write to. Just because we get this question once in a while. Moderator at rsbn.tv. Go to the moderator first, head moderator first. And if you're not satisfied with that, you can always write to us at feedback@rsbn.tv. So look, I know some issues do come up in the chat, but also the moderators do a great job of they want to have the chat, be a clean place and be a fun place for everybody to be able to chat and say their opinions. They're not paid, our moderators, and they do it. They volunteer to do it. So we really thank our moderators. But at the same time, I know there can be some disagreements there. But best thing to do if you have a disagreement with what's going on in the chat, message moderator at rsbn.tv. And if that doesn't work out to your satisfaction, you can always message us at feedback@rsbn.tv. But the moderators do a great job, and they try really hard. So we appreciate their hard work. Jerry just made another donation, Jerry OOOG, and said RSBN rocks. Thank you, Jerry. You've made several donations today. Very kind of you. Again, we are viewer supported. Your donations keep it on the air. We couldn't be on the air without you. We couldn't cover President Trump's speeches and rallies. We couldn't cover breaking news without your support. So you let us do this, and we really appreciate it. You can donate by going to the YouTube chat room next to the broadcast and clicking on the $sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat, or rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. And, if there's breaking news the rest of the day, of course, we'll be covering it as we always do. So if you want to know when we're coming on the air to cover news, subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell. Also, you can follow us on Facebook. Hello to everybody watching us on Facebook today. And on Twitter, we're at RSB Network. I'm on Twitter at @Lookner. Write to me if you have any thoughts on President Trump's speech today or President Trump's tax plan. And also, we don't have the money to advertise, but one way you can help spread the word about Right Side Broadcasting is to like our videos on YouTube, if you like them, and share them on Facebook. That really helps us a lot. just peek and see anything else I didn't mention. I had written down about the speech here. He did, President Trump, toward the end, talk a bit how we love, or he said we love our American flag, and perhaps he's still talking about that to talk about the NFL stuff a bit. It wasn't really emphasized in the speech today, though. Talked about the proposal, part of his new proposal, a $500 tax credit when caring for an older loved one. Talked about how he wants to simplify the tax code by lowering the number of tax brackets for individuals from 7 to 3, but he said his plan would also give Congress the flexibility to add one more higher tax bracket for big earners. And he said, under my administration, the era of economic surrender is over. Now, I wonder, President Trump and James Broach, thank you for sending the hospital ship story. I appreciate that. So what was I going to say here? I forgot. Oh, give me, sorry. I'm thinking of two different things at once. Let me stick to the speech. I was thinking of the hospital story and the speech. So for the speech, what I was going to say is, I wonder if President Trump, so we've now seen him twice in 3 days give speeches about this tax reform bill. Is this going to be a regular thing? Like next week, are we going to see 2 more or 3 more? How often is this going to be? That's what I'm interested in. Might we see him do a rally where he talks about the tax reform package? So we'll see. We'll see in the coming weeks. I'm interested in seeing how much he actually gets out there and gives more speeches and more appearances talking about this. Just so you know, guys, I just got a text from Joe just saying, Facebook removed our video of this speech and said, we removed something your page posted. We removed this from Facebook because it violates our community standards. I have no idea what that's talking about. I honestly don't know, but we'll look into it. But just so you know, that kind of stuff does happen. Bob See Your Uncle says, hey, Steve, the NFL stands for no fans left. Andrusova says, I missed the speech. Will it be available to watch? Yes, it will on YouTube, not Facebook, because weirdly, as Joe just mentioned to me, Facebook removed the speech for some violation of community standards? Huh? The speech by President Trump? Patriot of Truth writes in, I look forward to seeing the effects this tax reform will have, not only in the Americas, but in the world. So you think it'll help the world economy, it sounds like. We're going to be on for a couple more minutes here, so if you have any comments on President Trump's tax reform speech, on his tax reform plan, give me a shout at Lookner on Twitter, at Lookner. You can follow me there as well if you like breaking news. I cover breaking news a lot on my Twitter. And follow Right Side Broadcasting at RSB Network. Oh, also I wanted to mention, you know what I wanted to mention while we're on the air? This Cuba story. I got to go, I didn't have enough time to really get into this morning, so I want to get into it a little more once we get off the air. But I want to just mention it here. So, U.S. to pull more diplomats out of Cuba after attacks. The State Department announced on Friday that it is pulling more than half of its staff out of the American embassy in Havana in the wake of mysterious attacks that have injured 21 people associated with the embassy. Some of those attacks these attacks like the supposed sonic attacks where you can't hear the sound, but it's attacking people's ears. And said some of those attacks have suffered significant injuries with symptoms including hearing loss, dizziness, tinnitus, balance and visual problems, etc. But despite an investigation by the FBI, the cause and perpetrators of the attacks remains a mystery, with some experts speculating some kind of sonic weapon or faulty surveillance device. Faulty surveillance device, that's the first I've heard on that. Might have been at fault. That's an interesting theory. The department will also issue an advisory warning to American citizens who travel to Cuba that they could face unusual risks. Some of the attacks occurred in hotels where the State Department employees were temporarily staying, leading officials to worry that tourists and others could be affected. But there is no evidence so far that tourists or hotel employees have been affected, according to the State Department. You know what? I forgot my water here. Give me about 10 seconds just to grab my water. Hold on one sec. Thought I remembered everything today. Didn't remember to bring my water out here. But I'm better now. So the State Department today, they said, now I also see here State Department officials have decided they will not punish Cuba by forcing the country to reduce its own diplomatic staff in Washington. A decision that was immediately attacked by Senator Marco Rubio, a Republican from Florida, who fiercely opposed President Barack Obama's decision to improve ties with Cuba. And he actually posted on Twitter, Marco Rubio, some at State Department want massive drawdown of Americans at the U.S. Cuban embassy, I guess, in America, at the U.S. embassy in Cuba, but allow Castro to keep regime embassy in D.C. virtually the same. So Castro regime allows attacks on Americans, forcing us to draw down to keep them safe, but he gets to keep about the same number of people here. So we do have, some action taken, but on this mysterious story, no word yet on who exactly did this and what exactly they did to cause these injuries to American. There were some Canadian diplomats who were injured too, but we are the U.S. ordered about more than half of its staff to leave the American embassy in Havana. So that came out today. So we'll be keeping our eye on that. Janae Combris writes, in Facebook censorship, which is unconstitutional, there's a conspiracy whose objective is shutting down things from Mr. Trump. Talking about how our broadcast of Facebook removed our broadcast of President Trump's speech today, saying it violated community standards. I don't know what they're talking about. Now, maybe there was some weird malfunction of an automated system or something there. Let's see. I stand with Trump said, I just got through watching this news clip about Assange possibly having evidence to help Trump on the Russian collusion link. Thought I would share it with you. Thank you. I stand with Trump. I'll watch that later on. Andrew Sova writes in, did you see Rush Limbaugh's interview on Hannity last night? The second part of it will be tonight anyway. Rush mentioned his feelings on the NFL. He says the left is trying to ruin the sport because it shows the masculinity of men. All right, I think at this point we are going to wrap up this post-show stream, but we will be keeping an eye on the news today. And you've watched us before, know that when there's breaking news, we will come on the air to cover it. So subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell when you subscribe to get notified when we come on the air with breaking news. Also, follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. At RSB Network on Twitter. I am at Lookner on Twitter. You can follow me for breaking news updates throughout the day and evening. And thank you so much to everybody for watching. Thank you so much to everybody for donating. We got a bunch of donations from a bunch of different people. We really, really appreciate that. The donations are what keeps us on the air and allows us to bring agenda-free news coverage to you. So if you'd like to donate to us, you can always click on the dollar sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat next to the broadcast. There's a little dollar sign there. Or you can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. And also thank you so much to all the moderators today in the chat room and on the website for moderating. Ron and Jude, Real Frank, JC, Jazz Punk, Jan, Rhea, who else was there today? I hope I got everybody, but maybe I didn't. I'm sorry if I didn't. And everybody else out there for watching, thank you so much. See a lot of the regulars there. Tom O'Neill, Light Switch, Sharon, Maria, Barbara. I'm never going to get to everybody. Fit to be Tied. I'm just saying who I see at the moment. So I'm sorry if I miss you. But And but thank you for joining us for this broadcast of President Trump's tax speech. I am sure he will be doing more of them in the future, so we will be bringing them to you. But for now, and thank you to Joe for producing, of course, CEO Joe doing a great job of producing today. For now, I am Steve Lookner. For everyone here at Right Side Broadcasting, have a great day, and we'll see you soon.